We're joined by someone who knows all about these issues and has warned about them in film and in politics. Michael Moore, the Oscar-winning filmmaker, has campaigned in previous cycles with Bernie Sanders. He's, of course, an author and a popular Substack columnist. Welcome back.
Thank you, Ari.
Where do you want to begin, Michael? Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, it's great seeing Bernie and AOC out there across the country. And it's starting to feel, I don't know, I should say this, it's way too early to talk about 2028 yet. Everybody's thinking about what we're going to do next year. I believe that Alexandria will be 35 by Inauguration Day in January of 2029. And perhaps historians will see this tour where Bernie and AOC barnstorm the country. Oligarchy versus democracy. And that introduced the idea of we need a whole new person, a kind of person in the White House that is going to fight for the people. And while Bernie may think, well, you know, maybe by 2028 he's going to be too old, you can see just how not old he is. It's just been amazing to watch the tour this week. And to think about that we have somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to be the voice of, we have two full generations now of millennials and Gen Zers that are mad as hell at the world that they're being handed by the generations before them. And I can't live through another election where people stay home like they stayed home this time. I'm talking about liberal, lefty, Democrats, independents, people that by the millions stayed home on November 5th. And that costs us the election. There's more of us than there are of them. You look at every poll on the issues, the majority of Americans agree with Bernie and me and AOC. And yet millions stayed home. That's on the Democrats. And that has to change. And I'll just say one more thing. What I love about the tour is that Bernie is putting forth the idea that the Democrats have let us down in such a profound way. We need people running for office as independents like Bernie does. He does just fine. Now, maybe in your state or your city, that's not the best thing to do. But less, you know, Bernie is not a member of the Democratic Party. Neither am I. And there's a reason for that. It should be evident by now. And we're not going to survive. If we think the Democrats are the cavalry and the cavalry is going to ride in and save us, that's not going to happen. Not with these Democrats. I'm sorry. I hate to say that, but we need more independent people. There are people watching me and you right now that need to think about running for office next year, local office, state office, Congress. We need to primary these Democrats that don't have the guts and the courage. Our country is being dismantled right now, and we are watching it. And for us to do nothing, for some of us who should be thinking about what we're going to do next year, that it's almost criminal that we are even just sitting here talking about this when we need to be out there. We should be in the streets. We should be running for office, and we should quit thinking the Democrats are going to save us. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. You're going to get a lot of emails and calls from people. Why are you having Michael Moore on? But I'm sorry. I can't go through another November 5th like we just went through. And in these 3-4 months since then, what we're watching happen every day, every hour, you turn on MSNBC and it's something else. What was it 2 hours ago? Oh, they're dismantling the civil rights office of the Department of Homeland Security. And if anything has proven that we need a civil rights office in Homeland Security, it's what has happened to Mahmoud Khalil in the last couple of weeks. This is the Columbia University graduate student who was arrested and disappeared to Louisiana, not committed a single crime, not accused of a single crime. All he has done is to try and stand up for his people, the Palestinian people, with his freedom of speech rights that he has as a legal permanent resident of the United States of America. And the fact that we have...
Well,
just
that I'll jump in, although I let you run it for a while, Michael.
No, thank you.
But you made a lot of good points. That issue you raised, along with the deportation clash across this whole week, is about whether we will have the liberty that the founding fathers set as a baseline and had to be expanded over time as we expanded who really was a human being. It's a longer history. But the core idea was you can't have a king snatch people up, accuse them of things, and disappear them, as you said. Now, if through a process you satisfy the requirements and the person has due process and rights and counsel, there are reasons why people, of course, can be removed, but you have to prove that. If you can't prove that, which they haven't had to because they deported these folks on the planes and the example you give, then anybody can be snatched up. I mean, that's the whole reason why these are question is king-like powers. Your first point is really profound. You say people might not like it, but the Republican Party was fraying, and it got a boost of MAGA, which went against a lot of its core values, but became this cult of Trump. But it papered over that sclerotic party. And then people say he took over. And the Democrats, from what happened to Bernie, which we've covered in the initial time he ran against Clinton, to a lot of the other problems the party's had, also have these complete credibility issues with the public. So we're watching a public that doesn't think either party's that great. I could show you the numbers today, and I could show you the numbers a couple of years back. It's what you said. And so the larger grassroots question is who's going to step up and meet that. So I appreciate what you said there. I want to give you more time, and I want to show you something on prices because all the way back to Flint, Michigan, we ignore the working people at our peril in a country like this, as you've documented. And so here's the double talk from MAGA on what people do care about, which is jobs and prices.
Are you expecting agricultural products to be more expensive as a result of tariffs, Secretary?
When they voted in November of 2024, they knew that's what they were voting for. There may be an interim period as we're readjusting the entire economy. But listen, real change takes disruption.
I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
I want on groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, who uses the word? I started using the word. The groceries.
Starting the day I take the oath of office, I will rapidly drive prices down.
Prices aren't down. Markets are down, and tariffs are up. Is this a bait and switch? Go ahead.
That was the word, groceries. Okay. Yeah, listen. This is the gift of Trump, if I could put it that way, that he has already started to turn his own people against him. They're not quite there yet, but when they start going to the doctor and there's no Medicaid payment, and they're going to have to pay that doctor for their children and all of that, just go down the whole list of things that it's going to cost them more and more money. It's going to be harder and harder to live. And they're going to understand that he's the one that made this happen. And maybe he's thinking, well, I'm really good at lying. And if you just say it long enough, price of eggs, price of eggs, price of eggs, price of eggs, that they'll go with that. I don't think so. I think the American people are smarter than that. And I know fellow liberals are watching this and going, Mike, no. But yes. And from, as you mentioned, Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan is the birthplace of the 8-month pregnant wife of Mahmoud Khalil. She was born and raised in Flint, Ari. She was a top student at Flint University of Michigan, Flint branch. Gave the graduation speech there about 8 years ago. She's now a dentist. She's Dr. Noor Abdallah from Flint, Michigan, American citizen. He's a permanent legal resident with a green card. And I'm sorry to go back to that, but I'm just saying that the people in the state of Michigan, which Trump won, in the Flint, Michigans, in the Grand Rapids, in the Pontiacs, all those places, he's not going to keep this up. They're already on to him. They're already on to Chainsaw Man. And I read this thing the other day, the Michigan Chainsaw Massacre, of how Michigan is already hurting by the things that he's done. People are wise. They will come along to this. They will realize this. The Republicans, there's this, what's his name, Andy Biggs, He's, they're all getting just slammed at their town halls. He's doing a town hall. He said now that only Republicans can come to it. They're going to vet you and make sure only Republicans can get in the room. Andy Biggs, if you don't know, if you're watching this, is one of the 147 Republicans who, after a violent mob took over the United States Capitol on January 6th, and it took almost till late in the evening, near midnight, for the police and the National Guard to remove them from our Capitol. And then all the members of Congress and the senators came back in. And at 2 or so in the morning, now January 7th, 147 Republicans voted to overturn the 2020 election. They voted to overthrow the vote of the people. I'll exactly quote the New York Times. 147 Republicans who voted to, quote, overturn election results. And Reuters, Republicans, 147 of them voted to overturn the election. To me, I'm sorry, I was raised differently. That's the work of traitors. If you are voting, and you're voting just hours after an attempted overthrow of the United States Capitol, and then you show up and then you vote to say, no, we reject what the American people have said and how they voted. That's a treasonous act. And there were 147 Republicans who did this, including Andy Biggs, who only wants Republicans at his town hall. The American people, I know a lot of people who didn't vote. They should have voted. They'll never stay home again.